Officially calling the meeting to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item of business is the meeting minutes for the workshop, June 20th workshop, and the special meeting on July 3rd. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Charlie. Any discussion? I only have one where there's just a typo, where instead of pursuing, it should be pursue on June 20. Otherwise, all good. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, and then the next item of business is a presentation by our guest, Jody Miller, on the Dutchess County Commission on Human Rights. So, you're going to speak from there? I was going to stand here.
Yep. Can you share try to share your screen? And I can give you that okay.
You're welcome to sit. That would be more comfortable.
It's still disabled.
You'll make her host and then you can
Usually it pops up, doesn't it, that someone wants to share something?
No, it says host disabled participant screen share.
If Jen went to Jody Miller.
Oh, yeah, if you go to Jody Miller and the three dots and you click on that, there should be a thing that says make host.
Is that gonna mess with the recording?
No, it shouldn't.
Look at that.
Okay. Thank you for making time in your schedule for this presentation today. My name is Jody Miller. I'm with the Dutchess County Commission on Human Rights. And I'm just here today to talk a little bit about the purpose of the commission, the work that we do. This is part of a years-long town village project where we introduce ourselves to municipalities around the county. We were just out in Stanfordville the town of Stanford last month. So we really enjoyed meeting elected officials and talking about the commission's work because we are a resource for the entire county. So that's a little bit about what the purpose of today's visit, how we might be able to assist and develop closer collaboration with municipalities. A little bit about who we are. We were originally established in 1984 under the leadership of County Executive Lucille Pattison, and then reestablished in 2016 under the leadership of County Executive Mark Molinaro and the Dutchess County Legislature. We are similar to an advisory board where we have 15 commission members. I work for the county, and then the 14 commission members represent areas throughout the county, and they are volunteers who are appointed by the county executive and the chair of the legislature. This is a current list of our members. We're actually just every year we have an appointment process or an application process. So we are just in the process now of welcoming some new appointees who will begin their new terms on October 1st.
Jody, do you have a fixed number of members?
15.
And how long are the terms?
They're 3 years, unless of course somebody steps down early and then we have partial terms. So, thank you. We're going to be thanking some of our members who are finishing up their terms, and Darcy Kelly, who's a resident of Red Hook, is just completing her second full term on the commission. We really appreciate all of the work that she's done.
And Bailey Williams is also a Red Hook resident.
Kelly Williams is also a village Red Hook
Village,
resident,
yes.
that she is, and has done an amazing amount of work for the commission, and was an original member, stepped away for a while and came back. So we're really thrilled about that. We have a really very simple mission, defending human rights, bridging differences, and embracing diversity. And our purpose is outlined in the county resolution that we established the commission that really essentially says what we are to do and what we can't do. And so this is a bit of some of the work that we're tasked with doing in terms of fostering mutual respect and understanding between different groups, creating educational programs, addressing discriminatory practices that decrease tension and conflict. And people really do call us about all types of things. Only I'd say about 25% are discriminatory issues that we may refer to the New York State Division of Human Rights, refer the person to contact them if they want to. The rest, 75% of the work that the commission does is really community-based, connecting people to other resources, educational programs. We'll show you some examples of that. Organizing community events that build goodwill, developing programs to enhance inclusion and diversity, and acting as bridge to resources, both locally and at the state level. We're not an investigative body. We don't conduct investigations. So that's one of the things we always want to make clear to people when they contact us, and if they're looking for something like that, where they might be able to get that or other types of resources. So some of the work that we've done over the years, one of the things the commission has been known for is a project that we had started before the pandemic early on called the 100 Cups of Coffee Dialogue Project. Mayor has benefited from those. And it's really was an opportunity for people to come together and talk about the things that were of interest to them. And so we held many of those. I think we were, by 2020, before the pandemic, we had held about 17 different topics that hosts developed. Those has been a very popular project, and we were asked quite a bit about it. And so we are restarting that project this year and are holding our first one in August, which I'll talk a little bit about. You can see this picture on the left is the last one that we held, a public event where people talked about religious diversity and inclusion and what we could do to come together. That was in Fishkill. Many of these started, our project was piloted in the city of Poughkeepsie, but now we're looking to really take this out throughout the county because it's been so popular. We held listening sessions to learn about what kinds of strengths and challenges were coming up for different communities and how we could assist. Addressing hate and bias, which over the years since the commission was reestablished, we have people contact us with to report or to tell us about hate and bias incidents that have happened. Sometimes they're looking for us to get involved and to do something. Sometimes they don't want to talk to anybody else. Other times they want to see something happen. So we try to really tailor the responses that we provide to the community, to anyone who contacts us, which is confidential. We try to follow them and support them in addressing the situation in the way that they want to see it addressed within our purpose. So some of that has been through working with the organization Right to Be to do virtual bystander intervention trainings on a variety of different contexts. Some of that has been through organizing a march with other organizations in the city of Poughkeepsie, United Against Hate. Some of that has been organizing people to have dialogue to figure out what to do when the Nazi flag was hanging in the town of Poughkeepsie for over a year during the pandemic and creating a lot of upset with people in the community. which I just want to say that dialogue that we pulled together, we didn't dialogue with the person that was had the flag in their window. We brought people together that were in the immediate community, business owners, residents. And what happened was somebody in the group knew the person who had the flag. And I'm going to go have a conversation with him and try to talk to him to get it down. So that was something nobody had even thought of. But when you get people together to start talking about something, many things can come out of that. So we've held collaborative programs a few years ago with the Ulster County and Orange County Human Rights on doing more than nothing about hate and discrimination. All of those programs are archived on our webpage under events, so you can go back and take a look at those. Everything from addressing anti-Asian hate, supporting people with disabilities, health and communities of color, and other topics that were coming up that we felt were important to address. Law enforcement collaboration, we've been really fortunate to be able to collaborate with law enforcement on the things that, again, were important to people. Your sheriff at the United Against Hate March, during police reform, executive order, we were asked to facilitate community forums virtually. And also when people were asking us, well, what is a hate crime? We collaborated with the DA's office and the state police, sheriff's office, the law enforcement community that really is right at the door of when there is a hate incident or bias incident. They're the ones who are going to decide whether or not they rise this level of crime and is there a hate charge that would be added. So one of the things we've always been interested in is working with youth, doing some prevention as well as getting youth opportunities to focus on human rights. We've been very fortunate to collaborate with BOCES and the FDR Library, 3GNY, on a conference called Pathways to Civic Engagement. This year will be our third year, where the students learn about topics related to human rights and civic engagement. For our purposes, the Commission has been running a workshop on 100 Cups of Coffee, where the students would each get an article of the UDHR, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and they would talk together about that. It's been really quite interesting to see how students, they really love that. They love finding their voice. They like talking to other students in their schools or in different schools and learning that other people have the same concerns that they do. They responded in terms of understanding difference and being able to listen to other people who have different opinions or different views on things. So it's been really powerful for the students to participate. We've had very good participation every year. And so we're looking forward to that in December. And this is just something that one of the students, we have a lot of feedback from students about what they've learned as a result of participating. And so another thing that the Commission does is we really try to get out into the community. And when I say the community, Dutchess County is a pretty big community and it's pretty diverse. We have, as you know, 2 cities, multiple suburban municipalities, and very rural sections of the county. And so we want people to feel as though the Commission is there for them wherever they live in the county. So we try to get out and participate in events that groups have, in community days, support other partners that we have. So for example, the workshop for Spanish-speaking children of Spanish-speaking parents of children with disabilities, that was another organization's event, but they asked for our support. So we did the things like getting a venue and the things that they needed in order to host this event, because we really want people to know that this commission is for everyone in the county. In 2024, as I mentioned, we're refocusing on 100 Cups of Coffee project, Voice and Choice, addressing hate and bias, this Town Village project, among others. So this is the 100 Cups of Coffee that we have coming up in August, which is titled The Vision for Care, a compassionate team approach, creating a new vision for caring for older adults. And that's, again, one of our partner hosts is All for One, One for All, Dr. Seema Rizvi is a gerontologist, and she's a former commission member, is very passionate about this, and has been really wanting to host this conversation about how we can have it creating a vision for older adults, whether that's home care, whether that's daycare, whether that's, institutional nursing homes, all of it. So we're really looking forward to that. We're continuing our work with bystander intervention. We partnered with the Division of Human Rights, the Hate and Bias Prevention Council in the spring to host a couple of, we co-hosted 5 workshops. And in the fall, we are going to host 3 more workshops. Hate-based, stopping hate-based harassment, online harassment, and resilience. Because we know that we can't only address the hate piece, we also have to support people and help them strengthen. So resilience is important. Our speaker series, A Wider View, which is a quarterly series. The first was on Dr. Martin Luther King and 4 Pillars of Social Justice. The second goes on fair housing. This, our upcoming program is mental health in the BIPOC community. July is Julie Moore Campbell BIPOC Mental Health Month. And so we're partnering with the Brain and Body Coalition to host this panel discussion. So we're looking forward to that. That'll be Monday, June 22nd in Poughkeepsie at the Trolley Barn, and Wednesday, July 24th, at the Howland Cultural Center in Beacon. So anybody's listening that they want to join, they want to come to Poughkeepsie or Beacon, we're happy to do that. Happy to see you. Other kinds of community events and community days. And then, again, partnering with town, village boards, municipalities as a resource for the community, which could mean a lot of things. We've had lots of different conversations. And when we think something has happened, we've heard about, we may need to reach out to you, and certainly we would welcome you reaching out to us if you have any questions or things come up that you think would be helpful. So, I think I'm going to stop there, unless you have any questions or comments.
I guess I just have a question. Have you seen an uptick in concerns or reporting of incidents, or has it been relatively stable?
In the last 3 weeks, I've had 4 contacts regarding incidents in the LGBTQIA community, targeting people. So
So that would be sort of the end or just after Pride Month. And does that typically happen in June and July, or is that?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, things do tick up around holidays sometimes, or months that focus on a particular group, and particularly when that group is then targeted. So that community is a vulnerable community when it comes to incidents. And so some of this is, you can also see reflected, the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services is where criminal justice reporting goes. And so they have not published the 2023 hate crime incidents yet, but the 2022 crime incidents are up in the report. And those are specifically things that have been deemed crimes with a hate component. So the things that I just said, we have 4 contacts. They did not come from law enforcement, they came from community members. So there's a whole bunch of things that don't get counted. Sure. But my point about that is you can see the groups that are targeted, that the most hate crime reporting takes place. So, and the queer community is one of them. So the answer to your question is, it has not gotten better. So that's why we have a lot of work to do to kind of support people where they are, help them with resources or addressing the situation in lots of different ways, and remembering that we're neighbors.
I was going to ask if you've seen it in different communities, approaches that you think have been successful or positive in creating that sense of taking care of your neighbors.
Yeah, when somebody's in it, like in the midst of being targeted, it can be really difficult to, unless there's somebody that they really trust close by. But we do encourage, if there's anybody who's on your street or in your neighborhood that you feel like you can speak to and would be an ally or would be supportive. We've recommended these bystander intervention trainings. We've recommended people just, if there's somebody else that they can talk to and just, so they're not alone. That's one of the biggest things, is not, is helping people not feel isolated. So, somebody I recently spoke to, it was important to connect that person with others in that community who could just even talk by phone to support, because the person was feeling so isolated. So any kind of community building that we can support or help with, we try to do that so that they're not alone, they get the support they need. If there's other things that need to happen to address the situation, which are not always going to be criminal. A lot of times they're not. They might be civil or other resources to help. There's lots of ways, like the Nazi flag. Lots of people were trying to get that down for a long time, and it really came down to somebody who knew him and had that conversation, and that made a difference. So, community building, even if that's just a couple of people.
Anybody else have any questions? Jody, thank you very much. I really
Thank you.
appreciate you making the effort to come to the village.
Thank you so much.
Before you log out, let Jen take that host. You know how to do that? Or you may need to click on the three buttons by the building, by the village of Red Hook, and say,
Right, make host. I'm gonna make you host. Yep. Want to change? Okay.
I am the host.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfection. Thank you.
Jody, thank you again. And as a portion of the county that doesn't always get a lot of attention, we appreciate you making the effort. Okay, moving on to our other items on our agenda for regular business. The next item is the Dutchess County CDBG Consortia renewal. You have in your packets a letter that I received in June. And this is regarding the Community Development Block Grant Consortium. And that's, the consortia is currently 100% participation of the eligible 29 municipalities in Dutchess County. And we don't need to do anything unless we wanted to exclude ourselves from the consortia. I know of no reason that we should want to exclude ourselves, but I did want to give you all the opportunity to know this is something that we are a part of. We have, last year, we did apply for a grant that we did not get, but we had a meeting following with some information about how we can improve our application to potentially be successful in the future. Any questions or comments? Okay. Moving on. The next item, okay, solar speed sign proposal. So, what you have is a resolution to purchase 4 solar radar speed signs. These are signs that they're similar to the one on the way into Tivoli. It says, that flashes what your speed is. And I believe above it, it says speed limit 25. And this is what we are looking at, which basically says your speed. And if you're going above the speed limit, it says slow down. And if you're going the speed limit or below, it says thank you. I believe we have the opportunity to change. The idea is that we would have, instead of incorporating our speed limit on this sign, we would have our speed limit right there. The idea is to have it in the 4 entries into the village on Route 9 and 199. Slowing people down is something we've been talking about probably since I became mayor, and probably long before then as well. We have a quote from Elon City, which is the state contract. And they have also provided us with a discount. So to buy all 4 is $13,300, which, having looked at a variety of different companies, that seems to be a good price. Because it's solar, we don't need an electrical hookup. I have submitted the question to the state DOT as to what we would need to do in order to put this in. I have not yet gotten a response, but I wanted to proceed because I felt very strongly that this is an important thing to do for 2 reasons. One is I know from my experience when I see my speed flashing up on the board, I think, ooh, if it's significantly higher than the speed limit, I think I better slow down. The other thing is because it flashes at you, it catches your attention. And we have had a couple of incidents, and one especially tragic, that appears that I don't know if it was distraction or just not an awareness of the speed limit, but I do think that there would have been a benefit to having some indication that we need to slow down. We do know that the pedestrian fatality, excessive speed was included, and so had within flashing signs saying slow down. So just to go through the resolution is to authorize purchase of 4 solar radar speed signs, whereas the Village of Red Hook is focused on slowing vehicles down as they enter into the village, and whereas radar speed signs are known to bring attention to the change in speed limit and encourage drivers to slow down to the speed limit, and whereas the solar-powered version of radar speed signs does not require a separate electrical hookup or significant maintenance, and whereas the proposed signs also capture traffic data and statistics, and that's just an added gravy on top. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees authorizes the purchase of 4 solar radar speed signs to be installed at the 4 entrances to the village on Broadway and Market, pending approval from the state DOT for an amount not to exceed $15,000. And be it further resolved that this equipment be purchased using available ARPA funding. As I believe you know, we have about, I think it's about $57,000 left in ARPA. We need to commit it by the end of the year. At our next meeting in August, I should have a good update on how we did last year, but I don't believe we will use all the fund balance that we had authorized last year. So we will still have fund balance available for other projects as we go forward. And that does not have the time restriction the ARPA funding does. I guess I would take a motion to approve this resolution. So moved. Thank you, Macorka. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions, discussion?
Just so you say pending approval, you're gonna hold off acquiring them until you get feedback from the state DOT?
Yes.
Okay.
It is my expectation that they will require a highway work permit, which we have. And I don't know that they will require anything else, and that's just what I'm waiting for. It's not a unique thing, we're not the only one, so. But yes, we would not make the purchase or commit to the purchase till after we've heard back from the DOT.
Sounds good. In the UK, they have nice potions that have a smiley face or a frowny face.
They may have one like that in over by Bar. I can't remember. I know they have one that has numbers, that have non-smiling faces or frowning faces. That's fine.
You can maybe change the message. They might have one of them.
Yeah. Interesting looking into it. I think that's an even stronger persuade.
We need a smile.
You want to get the smile face.
There you go. You can certainly
I
pursue
think
that.
it'd be great. We could get these and be amazing. The parent, I love that idea.
So one quick question, for installation, is this something our highway department can do, or do we need a separate contractor?
No, our highway department can do this. I believe it is literally just, it's a cement pole. So it's just digging the pole, putting the pole in, putting the cement around it, and just making sure it's oriented properly. And that the signs plug in correctly, because it's solar powered. I think it's pretty simple, which is great.
Did you want to see this, Steve?
You got it first.
Great, perfect.
Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful, thank you. We will have a further resolution 20. Got it. Further items around safety and investigations and the like at our next meeting in August. Okay, so that's that. Okay, the next item is a resolution to modify the USDA Form E budget for the sewer project. Now, I'm hoping that you all got. Did you all get this copy? No, you didn't get this copy. So, the Form E, which if you remember from January, this is the, sewer project as itemized by the USDA Rural Development. The total cost of this project is $8,447,118. And USDA, which is a federal agency, just had a slightly different way of itemizing things. And now that we are at the end, I have the final disbursements request. And so this is required by USDA. And so you have each of the items. So we are decreasing the amount for McCabe and Mac to the new budget of $16,894, decreasing Rodenhausen. We are increasing the bonding cost. We are increasing the fiscal coordination. We are increasing the single audit cost. We are decreasing miscellaneous. We are increasing the general contract to 6 cents. That's truly just to make it match. And then, as I had mentioned, there was contingency available, and we were given the okay to have extra items here that were specifically associated with the sewer project. And I didn't bring my list, but it included a used service truck. It included a tripod and harness system for confined space, should someone have to go down into a tank. It includes a water tank for the back of the truck and a pressure washer to be used to help with the cleaning and maintenance of the pump and the basket. It's things of that nature that are included in that list. And so anything that we didn't spend in contingency, it doesn't change anything. It's just the last amount is related to the $1.2 million grant that we got from USDA. And so we have items leaving only $4,910.49 in contingency. And so that is, I will say I got to a certain point and said we need to stop and we need to just finish this project. There's certainly plenty of things that we are spending on, but I stopped. I thought leaving it at 4,900 wasn't too bad. And so I need a motion to approve this resolution to modify the budget.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. With this, and the final submittal for disbursement, once that is approved and we receive the funding, we will pay those final invoices. And the project will be wrapped in a bow so that we can go on to phase 2, which is what comes next. I'm going to do a slight modification of the agenda. We're going to talk about the full environmental assessment form part 1 first, because the resolution on attending to serve as lead agency includes mention of the environmental assessment form. So I wanted to go through that with you. And I want to go through it carefully so that you've all had a chance to just look at it, ask your questions. There are a couple of adjustments in going through in more detail. I spoke with our engineer and so made a couple of adjustments. So this is the phase 2 sewer system. We have referred to it as the sewer expansion, but page 2, government approvals, the village board needs to approve it, the Dutchess County Health Department, and the Speedies permit, the SPDES, and to be honest, I forget exactly what that stands for, but it's related to our permit to discharge into the stream. It's apparently unnamed, but it's an estuary, I guess, that goes into the Sawkill. That is our permit from the state that allows us to do that, and there's an amount that we are allowed. And then New York State EFC funding is part of the state agency that needs to be, it's in this mix. I don't know if you have any specific questions. On page 3, there are 2 additions under the C3A zoning. The answer is is the site of the proposed action located in a municipality with an adopted zoning law or ordinance? The answer is yes. Your copy does not have anything under the what zoning classification, and that has been addressed, so that now indicates that it's in the neighborhood mixed use district as well as the residential districts and the gateway business district. And then the other, if you look down on the proposed and potential development project details, DB talks about the total acreage of the site. C has nothing indicated. It will say 10 acres because the village owns that property. We don't own any of the property around it, but we do own the parcel on which the wastewater treatment plant exists. And answer that question. The only other There were a couple of typos, one on page 5. An updated speedies permit will be needed from New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. And the other, we can go through page by page. Does anybody have any questions up to page 6? And if anyone is interested, this document is on the website with a link to it.
I do have a question on page 7, if we can jump
Absolutely.
to section H. It says, will the proposed action generate or emit methane, including but not limited to sewage treatment plants? And that's checked as no.
Because the plant does not emit methane, that is not something that, and I don't know enough about methane as to what generates that, but because we're only bringing in the effluent, and the effluent is coming, which is basically the liquid, that's coming in via a pipe into a tank. So it doesn't get exposed to the air until after it's made. That is that's for sure.
Can I ask a question about page 6?
Absolutely.
Under section D as it goes over, it says that the existing step collection system will be expanded to serve additional properties within the village. Does that mean that because we're considering doing stuff at the town as well, that's a separate?
That's an interesting point. Will a line extension within an existing district be necessary to serve the project? So because they're talking about the existing district in that question,
Okay.
I think that's why, because I think in the very beginning in the description of the project, no, actually it doesn't mention the town. It does not, but in this particular question, it does mention an existing district to be necessary to serve the project, and the existing district that we're dealing with is the village's district. The village itself is a district.
Okay.
So I would argue this particular question is talking about the existing district that we have.
Okay.
But it's a fair question to say, where does the town, is there anywhere that we should be mentioning the town? I would say it does not appear that we need to. I know as there's been some discussion around odor, I think we've had some discussions around the odor control unit that we have on the new plant has had some issues. And there's actually going to be some significant repair done tomorrow that should hopefully mitigate all of the odor issues that we've had with the existing plant. On page 10, at the top, D, are there any facilities serving children, the elderly, people with disabilities, schools, hospitals, licensed daycares, and group homes within 1,500 feet of the project site? What has been added is Red Hook Commons Senior Housing Development, because it is within 1,500 feet of the project.
So that's now a yes.
It is a yes, it is now a yes. Let me make sure it's a yes. Sometimes those things don't get translated. And then on page 11, under natural resources on or near project site, under D, what is the average depth to the water table on the project site? Our village engineer indicates that that's about 10 feet. We're pretty close to to ground to the water table. And for those, if you didn't know, the site of Red Hook Commons, that included what we now own for the wastewater treatment plant, was a cleanup site. And so there are restrictions on that site. There are also wetlands there. And that is part of what we need to be mindful of when we do any work. And apparently there are, when it comes to the species of plant or animal listed on the federal government endangered or threatened species list, bald eagles. I find that quite wonderful, since there are now bald eagles around to be concerned about. When I was younger, there were very few, if any. I don't think that will be a particular issue, given that the space where we'll be putting the new plant is already cleared, so that you're not going to be taking any trees down. And I'm sure that where the bald eagles are often trees that are primarily on where the wetlands are now. Any other questions or items on this one?
So the last page,
Mhm.
where the fact says eligible things, is Martin Hendrick House, those are all separate?
So, separate what?
No comments. They're separate houses, Martin Hendrick House, or is it one type of?
Where is that printed here?
ELS.
Oh, I'm looking at page 13, and it says just eligible properties. So you're on the very last page, eligible property, Red Hook Public Library, Linden Avenue Junior High School, Martin Homestead.
The last line says Martin, Hendrick, House. Which looks like an interesting typo, right? Because it's the Martin Hendrick House. It's all one.
If it is all one, then
I think it was the Hendrick Martin House.
well, maybe it's Martin, Hendrick.
So maybe you're saying that maybe
Hendrick is the first
yeah,
name.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, that's not very easy to read. And I wonder where this looks like a list that came from somewhere. Yeah, so if it's the Hendrick Martin House, I would imagine that it's because they put Martin first, then Hendrick. Yeah, why it needed to come after that, I'm not sure, but yeah, I would say that they did it in an odd way.
Yeah, also because there was a Martin Homestead above it, so it's just interesting.
Yes, does seem odd that they would not.
Sorry, that was maybe not needed comment.
Interesting, huh? Okay, any other questions or comments on that? Okay, hearing none, we are going to this is included in the resolution that comes next, which is declaring our intent to serve as secret lead agency for wastewater treatment plant upgrade phase 2. Whereas the Village of Red Hook sits over a valuable aquifer that provides water to village residents, town residents, business owners, and farmers. This is resolution 22. Whereas a vibrant village requires a modern infrastructure, and the Village of Red Hook desires to promote ecological and economic sustainability. Whereas the Village of Red Hook intends to pursue an extension of the municipal sewer system in the general business district and contiguous areas, and an upgrade to the existing wastewater treatment plant of the project. Whereas the upgrade will increase the treatment capacity of the wastewater treatment plant from 75,000 gallons per day to 300,000 gallons per day. Whereas the Village of Red Hook has been advised that the project cost of the project will be $20 million. Whereas the Village of Red Hook is pursuing other grants and offset options to reduce the borrowing needed in order to reduce the capital costs. And whereas a full environmental assessment form for the project is behalf of the village. Whereas in accordance with the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, (SECRA), the village is required to determine the classification of the project. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Red Hook as follows. The Board of Trustees hereby classifies the project as a Type 1 action pursuant to SECRA. The Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to sign page 13 of the full EAF. The village clerk is hereby authorized and directed to send notice of the village's intent to serve as lead agency along with a copy of the EAF to all involved and interested agencies as indicated in the attached list. The Board of Trustees shall hold a public hearing to obtain public comments on the potential environmental impacts of the project on August 5th, 2024 at 7 p.m. at Village Hall. And the village clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish notice of said public hearing in the official newspaper of said village on or before July 19th, which is not less than 10 days prior to the date of said public hearing. May I have a motion to approve this resolution? So moved. Thank you, Martha. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Charlie. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Okay, and following on the same theme, the next item is a resolution to authorize submission of a consolidated funding application or CFA grant for the sewer phase 2 project. And for those of you who don't know, which included me, CFA or Consolidated Funding Application is a process by which the village can apply for a wide variety of grant opportunities. We are applying specifically to the Community Infrastructure Grant for Pro-Housing Communities program, which is, you got a second version of this, and you'll see in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th, whereas that detail is included. But here's the resolution. The Village of Red Hook plans to expand the sewer use area beyond the current area. The village engineer, Delaware Engineering, has completed an engineering report for this project to expand the sewer use area to include an additional 170 properties, adding an additional 175,000 gallons per day capacity to the existing wastewater treatment plant. Whereas the town of Red Hook has requested 50,000 gallons per day dedicated capacity to service their traditional neighborhood district to the south of the village for their proposed sewer district, for which the town would contribute the capital costs associated with that construction. Whereas there are several potential housing projects in development in the village which are made possible by being on the village sewer system. Whereas the probable cost of the total project, including the town of Red Hook's 50,000 gallon per day dedicated capacity, is an estimated $19.5 million. Whereas to receive consideration for various grant funding opportunities for this infrastructure expansion through New York State's Consolidated Funding Application, including the Community Infrastructure Grants for Pro-Housing Communities program, an application needs to be submitted by July 31st. And whereas this action does not commit the village to proceed with the project or exactly as it is proposed in the engineering report, but there is a benefit to proposing the largest option being considered because the funding is a percentage of the total project and will not be increased if the project size or project costs increase. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to submit the CFA grant application for the sewer phase 2 project due on July 31st. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Steve, second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Charlie. Any further questions? I can clarify, we, for the pro-housing communities, we had passed the resolution of our intent to apply to be a pro-housing community. And we have subsequently put together the documentation that they require, and that has been submitted. And my understanding is We don't need to have the formal designation, by July 31st, but we do need to have made our full application, which we have now done.
That's great to hear about it.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you. All righty, the next. That one, okay, so the next is, excuse me, this is related to the building planning and zoning department fee schedule. I made it into a resolution. It just says, whereas the Village of Red Hook Building Planning and Zoning Department has a current fee schedule, and whereas amendments have been recommended to improve the functioning and better reflect the costs of the building planning and zoning departments. Now therefore be it resolved that the building planning and zoning department fee schedule be amended as noted in the attached document. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. Roll on.
There's a second.
Yeah, it's just the now therefore.
Yes.
The Board of Trustee adopts the amended building planning and zoning department fee schedule attached to this resolution effective immediately. And just to be clear, on the fee schedule, there are a couple of added amendments that just clarify. So for example, under application/certificate residential construction, there is a fee of 35 cents per square feet, $100 minimum. Proposal is to add C certificate of occupancy fees, and that's the same for commercial construction. There's an add for a temporary certificate of occupancy, residential $250, commercial $300, and those are valid for 3 months. Another amendment under pools, in-ground and above-ground, backflow prevention is required. And then amending the fire inspections, it will be $150 per unit, up from $100, up to 2,500 square feet. And then from 2,501 to 5,000 square feet, from 150 to 200, 5,001 to 10,000, up from 200 to 250. And then on the section on minor subdivision and major subdivision, there's just a note added, see New York State Village Law 7-728. That's just to clarify where that's coming from. And then for an area variance, it goes from 100 to 200. For a use variance, it goes from 100 to 200 for the fee. And then for a zoning, basically a zoning board interpretation, it goes from 50 to 100.
Can I ask a question?
You may.
Do we have the fees for getting approval for your fee and all that stuff? Does that lie on here?
You know, that's a good question. I think we have those. Those should be included here. We did those separately. Can I have a motion to just add those? We're not changing them.
No.
So why don't we amend the motion to say, how about now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees adopt what's this is there? The amended building plan and zoning fee schedule attached to this resolution effective immediately, and be it resolved that the fees for fees, animal husbandry and chickens be added to the fee schedule. With that, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second,
Thank you. Any further discussion? Thank you for that adjustment, Naparka.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry, go ahead, Nicole.
I was just gonna say that this is a bit more than we've done increases before, but that is because it is now connected to what we're paying out to this new firm that we hired, right?
It's also, this is a recommendation from the firm that we're working with, and they work with a lot of different municipalities. I will say there are a couple on here that they recommended be a lot higher. I said, yeah, no, we're not ready to go there yet. And some of them are related to, so for example, the temporary certificate of occupancy. What we want to do is to incentivize getting to the final CO. So if you get a temporary and you have things you need to finish, sometimes it can happen that people say, oh, I got my CO, I don't need to do anything else, and then we don't hear from you again.
Sometimes your mason doesn't get back to you for a very long time.
Oh, and then there's that.
I mean, that's hard, but yeah, I understand that employees have to finish and say.
Yeah. So this is also, I think prior to last year, it had been quite a while since the fee schedule had been updated.
Yeah, but I think we did it,
We did it a year ago.
Yeah.
Prior to that,
Got it.
it hadn't been looked at.
You know me, I always think of that one person that is gonna get dinged, but. So that's, anyway. What we need to pay for the services that are.
Yes, I think the notion is if someone is doing work on their house, it shouldn't be on the other village taxpayers who are paying for that activity. Steve?
So for the first two items for the building permit fees, instead of saying C certificate of occupancy fees, which someone has to then go back and forth, it would be clearer, I believe, if it just says certificate of occupancy fee to be collected with building permit application, which is kind of the corollary of what's under certificate of occupancy.
Open it up.
So just saying certificate of occupancy fee will be collected with building permit application or upon building permit application.
So basically, collect with building permit application. They say what it says on the next page
Right, so you
here,
don't
and you
have to
just don't have.
go back and forth and figure out.
Will be collected on building. Will be collected with building permit.
What is a certificate of occupancy? That's usually done separately, but you pay for it before you go through the process. That's the idea.
I have to say that doesn't make sense because when you get an application, you get a permit, a building permit application. Oh, I guess you're basically paying in advance for your certificate of occupancy.
You're not granted it.
But you're not granted it. That's okay. Yeah, I'm okay with making that change. So in parentheses, it'll just say certificate of occupancy fee will be collected with building. That's just letting you know that there is one. I think that was the point. Is that right, everybody?
But then people don't know to look further in the chart. That's the only thing that would be.
I will say that Lara walks everyone through this.
Okay, great. I mean,
So
I just know that Laura gets all the questions. So, yeah.
yes, she does, which is one of the reasons why I think this was in here, so that people don't think that's the only fee.
Yeah.
I think that was the point. But she does walk everyone through it, and this way, it's just clearer for her if there's a reference on the first page.
Would it make sense to take Steve's language, which I don't think is bad, and say page 2, like, that's.
Let me make a suggestion. We are, probably going to do, a fee schedule of all the fees that we have at our reorganization meeting in April, where we bring them all together in one big thing, so that we're reviewing them all, which we should be doing annually anyway. And perhaps that's the time to make, because I'd be willing to bet that's not the only suggestion you would have if you actually looked at this with your visual eye.
Yeah.
So that might be the time to take a broader look.
Great.
Any other? Do I need to amend the resolution to reflect the change in?
We can say that the board of trustees adopts the amended building planning zoning department fee schedule as edited.
Great. Great. Okay. Any other questions, discussion, changes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Okay. Okay, the next item we have is an appointment to the Human Relations Committee. Corco, why don't you take this over?
Okay, so we recently got a new effective member. She's a deacon for the Christ Episcopal Church, and she's done a lot of great work in our community, and she wanted to join our committee to help kind of bridge the work they're doing and to learn how she could support the work we're doing. And we had she came to one of our meetings and we had a long conversation with her. And she seemed to really fit in well and be excited about the work. So I recommend her as someone to join.
Great. I'll take that as a motion to appoint Linda Duval to the Human Relations Committee. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Charlie. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Okay, what is not on your agenda, but I am appointing. Okay, so I am appointing, you all are approving. So I'm making the appointment for Linda Duval. So we need a motion to approve my appointment. That'll be Mel Porco. Steve will second that, and we're all still in favor, right?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. Okay, I don't believe this is on your agenda. However, our current village attorney, Rich Olson, his firm, McCabe & Mack, is dissolving. And he is moving to practice law with Mackey, Butts & Whalen, which is actually the firm that we used to also have our labor attorney until she started her own firm. And so I just have a resolution to maintain, to appoint the law firm of Mackey, Butts & Whalen and Rich Olson of counsel as attorney to the Village of Red Hook through December 31, 2024. I didn't want to go any farther than that. I've had some thoughts about how we might consider changing how we currently have a number of attorneys that we work with, and I'm formulating an idea about how we might make some adjustments there, but I'm not ready yet. So I would like to hold on to Rich Olson and appoint Mackey, Butts & Whalen as our village counsel for now, to give me some time to present perhaps a different setup. May I have a motion to approve this appointment? So moved. Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Charlie. Any Discussion, question? All in favor?
Aye.
So 25.
It is.
I have no budget adjustments at this time. And just pointing out that our next workshop meeting is on July 25th, which is next week. I will not be here, but I know that we will, at the bare minimum, we'll have vouchers to approve. And Brooke and I will meet prior to the end of this week to see about the agenda for next week. And then our next board meeting is August 5th. So, okay, with that, it is time for our wonderful village treasurer to give us our treasurer's report.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. Here is your treasurer's report for tonight. And these are account balances as of 6/30/2024. In the general fund, we have $1,719,583.53. That is an increase of almost $1 million from last month and due to our property tax collections, which happened during the month of June. Water fund has $504,534. Payroll clearing account, $40,112.88. Sewer fund, $48,580.36. The Hardscrabble account, $7,573.12. Village Green, $8,221.61. Our health insurance fund has $7,033.42. And the petty cash account, $52.93. The following are our reserve checking balances. The fire department has $10,287.11. Police reserve $17,676.64. The USDA has $143,828.66.
And just to clarify, that's the USDA water short-lived asset reserve account.
Okay. Highway reserve, $590.26. The snow reserve, $3,396.52. Tower reserve, $18,343.54. Unemployment reserve, $7,276.15. The court reserve, $3,416.32, and the office reserve, $1,007.22. Here's our monthly expenses for June. The general fund expended $304,915.08. The water fund, $130,261.74. The payroll clearing account, $2,388.89. And the sewer fund, $76,849.30.
Wonderful. I don't know why I was forgetting. Need a motion to approve. We need a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Charlie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We do have, that's your report, correct?
Yes.
We do have one other question for the board. The treasurer has been printing out copies of the general fund, water fund, and sewer fund as of the end of the month. And now she's doing 2 of those because one is last year and one is this year. You also get those emailed, and all of them are in the folders when you review the vouchers. Lori and I would both like to do is no longer print individual copies for each of you as trustees on paper. We can certainly continue to do that. It certainly right now is a lot of paper, and you do get it emailed to you. Thoughts?
I'm okay with the electronic copy. That way too.
I like my paper copies, but
We can make you a paper
We can
copy.
make it trustee specific.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I like having them in the, because then I will sometimes go back to a month and it's all there, but I can definitely go back in my email as well. It's doable. That is,
We don't want to make it harder for you to do your job, so we're happy to keep going. Steve, how about you? Charlie, sorry.
I'm fine with that.
Electronic?
Yeah.
Okay.
One question about the electronic, is it possible, again, without doing any extra work, to get it as a spreadsheet instead of a PDF, or is that for some reason not needed?
I'm gonna answer that in this way, in the form of a question. Jen Kavanaugh, could you assist me in that endeavor?
Actually, I think I can assist you because I think you can download the report. You can export it as a spreadsheet.
That doesn't sound like a huge lift, Steve, so I'm
No,
gonna
it's
say.
a button in QuickBooks.
I would go spreadsheet. That sounds fun.
Oh my,
All right.
these are uncharted waters, and yet, at the same time, very exciting.
I was gonna say, you gotta be careful what you ask for. Okay, and just, again, copies can always be made, and there will always be a copy in the voucher packets. Okay, wonderful, thank you. Let's do that. I will take a motion to pay bills after audit.
So moved.
Thank you, Charlie, second.
Second.
Thank you, Steve, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. That's why I can't forget it at the end. The property tax collection report, is that on me?
It's a report to you, you know.
Do I need to? Oh, it's just a report.
You can read it if you want, it's something I'm supposed to do.
Okay, well, apparently we have a property tax collection report this is as of the end of June, correct? Property taxes due to the village total $1,420,566.62. Total village parcels 763. Accounts receivable outstanding to the village as of 6/30/2024, $293,233.54. Delinquent accounts as of the end of June, 168. Penalties due to the village as of the end of June, 0.
So a quick question, I mean, the receivable amount and the delinquent accounts, which is a little bit more than 20% of total, is that typical for this point in time, or is that varied from prior years?
I've not plucked the data.
We can check into that and let you know.
Does it usually, do we know that it usually gets, like, how often do these get taken care of by the?
So the process, the process is, I mean, there are always delinquent accounts as of the end of June, unfortunately. And by October, I believe it is.
Turn over the at the end of October, so November 1st. It's in the county.
It's given to the county
And then they levy it.
They make the village whole, and then they handle the remaining collection.
I don't think that this is normal at this time, and it's not only the first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know that it's significantly different. Okay, now moving on to reports. I'll start with my library report. So they held their regular board meeting on Thursday, June 20th. If you recall, we had a village workshop meeting then, and so I was not able to attend. Board documents can be accessed on the library website. It's under redhooklibrary.org/board of trustees. The link to the board packet is embedded in the text toward the bottom of the page. So if you want to see what has been presented, you can find it there. I will have a full report at our August meeting. The next library board meeting is scheduled for this Thursday, July 18th at 6:30. The committee meeting schedule is on the library calendar on their website. Insurance, just to give you a follow-up. At the last meeting, I mentioned that we had gotten our renewal except for cyber insurance. We have subsequently received our cyber insurance. Last year, the cost was $1,860.10, and it came in at $1,372, or roughly $500 less this year. Budget adjustments to follow. Sewer project, USDA RD final disbursement request to close out the project has been put together. You all just passed the final budget modification, so I will find out shortly if we're all squared away. Sewer expansion phase 2, our working group met June 7th and 21st to review the ongoing operations in the phase 2 project. The phase 2 project was submitted for listing on the Clean Water State Revolving Fund Intended Use Plan. That would be the IUP. It was submitted on June 14th. The deadline was June 15th. As a reminder that we've talked about the project and what it includes. Once our project is listed on the IUP, any additions or deductions or cost increases will not change the grant amount, which is why we went for the largest consideration. The town did successfully establish their sewer district. And we already talked about the consolidated funding application. And actually the Cookingham East Red Hook Gateway, I'll let you report on that, Steve. Abraham's Park Task Force. The survey for Abraham's Park is ready to go. And giving each of you a flyer to, and I will give you one as well, and I can send you an electronic copy as well. This is a survey for the community to give us information as to what people are interested in seeing at Abraham's Park. The survey also has a Spanish version. Thank you, Melcorco, both for the flyer and for coordinating the Spanish translation. So if we're looking forward to getting some good response to that. And so long as it's not going to rain, we'll put out a few of these at Abraham's Park to hopefully catch a few people there. And if anyone has any suggestions about where to put them, or where to send them, please let me know, because we have printed out a number of copies. I don't think I reported my July-August newsletter will be going out shortly, and I'll include it in there. The UP-SEU contract negotiations, the deputy mayor and I met with both police and highway with their union representatives the first week in July with our responses. Further meetings will take place in the coming weeks. WEO water projects. SCADA controls upgrade. This project is underway and expected to be completed by the end of July. The SCADA system controls the water system, and this upgrade will increase the efficiency of the system. Avanti Construction is the contractor. The cost for this project is $416,700. Cherry and Grave Street water main replacement. This project began in mid-May. The contractor is Amity Construction, not to be confused with Avanti. It's actually Avanti Controls. The new water main was installed on Cherry Street and part of Grace Street before Amity stopped work for July and August. Amity is due back September 3rd to complete the project, which includes completing the new water main on Grave Street, doing all the new service lines to residences served by these water mains, and cleaning up and paving Cherry and Grave Street. Substantial completion is contracted to be December 17, 2024, and the cost for this project is $1,003,560. As an aside, a tap off the main for the Ross property, which is one of the potential development properties, was conducted in the midst of this construction project. And then the third project is the water tank rehabilitation project. On-site work for this project began last week. The water tank was drained on Wednesday, July 10th. A temporary bladder tank is in operation to maintain water pressure in the system. So far, so good. Equipment was dropped off at the tower on Thursday, July 11th. Workers are expected on site to begin their work this week. They actually are likely to start blasting because they're working inside the tank. And so they will be blasting to loosen up what's in there, to get rid of it, to then repaint it. The contractor is Worldwide Industries. The cost for this project is $373,500. Completion is expected to be before the end of 2024. Next item, Dutchess County Transportation Council. I am one of two rural representatives for the Dutchess County Supervisors and Mayors Association, what is referred to as the DCTC. There was a virtual planning committee meeting on June 26, which I attended. They gave an update on the Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP projects, and various funding opportunities. They also shared their work on a vulnerability assessment for the county called the Transportation Resilience Improvement Plan, or TRIP, if they spend half their time coming up with their acronyms. There is a final draft available on their website. Unless you want to see, but we are. There is a final draft available on their website. There's actually a lot of very interesting information on there. Their annual traffic count study will be completed soon. The Village of Red Hook was included in that study, and we will add that information to the traffic study being done by Craig Manning for the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit review. The DCTC committee meetings are open to the public. Minutes and future dates are all available on their website, which is dutchess.ny.gov/departments/transportation-council.htm. If you go to the Dutchess County website and go under departments and hit transportation, you'll find them. And then just a couple of other items. I attended and volunteered at the senior picnic run by the County Office for the Aging for the residents of Milan, Red Hook, Rhinebeck, and Tivoli on Wednesday, June 12th at the Dutchess County Fairgrounds. It was wonderful to see many Red Hook seniors in attendance. Historic Red Hook included a raffle item of breakfast with the mayor at Local 4 at their then and now event. The winner was Eric Ryback, board president of Panda TV. We had a very enjoyable and delicious breakfast on June 19th. Among many topics, we discussed Panda's future plans and other ways we might further work together. Congratulations to Beck Hook Pride and especially Trustee Kim Bradley Ricard on a wonderful, well-attended Pride Parade and celebration on June 22nd. While it was a very hot day, it was better than the predicted thunderstorms. Kudos to the whole team. The same day as the Pride Parade, I had the joy and privilege of officiating my third wedding ceremony since becoming mayor. Certainly one of the greater joys of holding the office of village mayor. The Red Hook School Foundation Ball was at the Spiegel tent on June 21st. This year's theme was a masquerade. Unfortunately, my mask did not fool anyone. At the invitation of Fire Chief Mark Hillenbrand, I had the privilege of attending the Tivoli Fire Company's annual dinner at Kotzebue International Dance Center on June 22nd. And the Girl Scouts has a program that includes giving Girl Scout cookies to veterans. I was lucky enough to receive several cases of cookies, which I happily delivered to the Red Hook VFW Post 7765 on June 28th. And that is it for my report. Let's see if there's anything else. Nope, I got more, sorry. I did get the fire report and I printed it out and it's in the printer. So I do have them, but I don't know what they are because I didn't formulate them. Yes, that would be great. I will report on the police report in the meantime. So for the month of June, total number of incidents were 329. Of those in the village of Red Hook, there were 186. In the town of Red Hook, there were 128. In the village of Tivoli, there were 15. There were 92 water tower security checks. There were 85 uniform traffic tickets, 59 in the village of Red Hook, 21 in the town of Red Hook, and 5 in the village of Tivoli. For parking tickets, there were 5 in the village of Red Hook, none in the town of Red Hook, and 2 in the village of Tivoli. The arrests, there were 3, 1 each in the village of Red Hook, town of Red Hook, and village of Tivoli. And I'm going to give you an abbreviated version. I have the last 3 months of fire incident reports. Total number of incidents in the village in the month of April were 69. In the month of May, there were 28. Big difference. And, oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm misreading what I got here. Hold on. That's not what I hope. Is the village. Is the village. Okay. Apologies. Now that I have it right, in the village of Red Hook, this is going to make more sense. In April, there were 27 incidents. In May, there were 28. And in June, there were 20. And outside of the village, in April, there were 69. In May, there were 62. And in June, there were 80. So it looks like June is very much in the town. And so I will separate that out and have a full report for you for the next meeting. And then actually lastly for me, I did attend a town EDC meeting in June, on June 12th. And Ken Migliorelli spoke about his concern related to the plans for public trails on the Cookingham West property. His concern is around having farm equipment and the public in the same space. He is also concerned that the Ag and Open Space Committee is not being consulted with as these plans are being made. I will add that never mind, that comes next. There was a discussion around the town sewer district, and I shared the current status of the village phase 2 sewer project as well. The frustration around having a main village corner be occupied by a gas station was shared once again. A brief discussion of the obstacles in the way of making any change there. I shared an update on the Northeast Quadrant planning process. Christina Ducharme discussed the Kingston new zoning, specifically the large lot section. She recommended that the village look at that zoning for inspiration. There was also discussion around lighting and future options for controlling the color temperature of lights. I shared a project around reducing the speed limit to 25 and other things that we are looking at to slow down the traffic throughout the village. I also alerted the group that the Abraham's Task Force will have a survey available soon to collect input on ideas for uses and amenities at the park. Ken Migliorelli requested to be added to the task force. Christina reminded the committee that they have had several discussions around Roland Lanes out on 9G and the current zoning in that area. She said they needed to have further discussions on zoning possibilities to recommend to the town. And their next meeting in June was June 26th. And I think that's everything. That's all I got. Who's next? Deputy Mayor.
Yeah,
You're up.
okay. Right up together. I did not attend the June 6th meeting. I did, however, attend the meeting on July 11th at noon, held over Zoom. The scheduled speaker was Darcy McCourt, who presented the organization Rebuilding Together, Dutchess County. Rebuilding Together provides renovation and repair services to income qualifying households. The Rebuilding Day Program and Handyman Program provides qualifying homeowners with free repairs in order to make their homes safe and or accessible to the occupants. If you are interested in their program, you can visit their website, rebuildingtogetherdutchess.org. There are various eligibility criteria outlined in their application forms. For instance, they cannot do repairs on homes assessed at over $368,000. They cannot do repairs on mobile homes, and households must not exceed the gross income thresholds, which are outlined in their application. If you're interested in applying, the Rebuilding Together office and the Dutchess County Office for the Aging can assist prospective applicants with filling out the forms. The next Red Hook Together meeting is noon at Bart's Behringer House on August 4th.
And just to comment, the reason why they can't do repairs on mobile homes is because people people don't own the land on which the mobile home is. That is something that has been brought to the attention of our state senator to say this is something that they might consider making an adjustment so that these kinds of repairs the funding for this can actually apply to those in mobile homes.
That's a great clarification. Red Hook Town Economic Development Committee. The bi-weekly meetings have been taking place at Village Hall on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month at 8:40 a.m. I was unable to attend the June 12th meeting due to a conflict with the New York State Comptroller training course, and the mayor attended instead. She just reported on that. I did attend the June 26th meeting, and the conversation centered mainly on the Red Hook School District's idea exchange regarding the recently failed budget proposition vote for replacing the main athletic field with artificial turf. The committee also asked about any updates on the zoning project for the Convenience East, as well as complimenting the Red Hook Health Food Store's bright new paint and signage. There was also discussion about the Chamber's Second Saturdays, as well as the Eaton Goes Friday music series. The EDC chose to skip the July 10th meeting to accommodate members' summer travel plans, and the next meeting will be held on July 24th. The Village of Red Hook Communications Committee. The Communications Committee meets every first Wednesday of the month at 1:30 p.m. in the Village Hall Conference Room. This month's meeting was not held due to union negotiations scheduled at the same time in the Village Conference Room. Over the month, we have continued efforts on previous projects, including successfully submitting a budget adjustment to the county for the language access project. We also worked to create a colorful flyer to promote the Abrams Park survey, which is available in both English and Spanish. If you would like to take the online survey, please visit redhookvillage.org/park survey. The Village of Red Hook Hardscrabble Events Committee. The Events Committee meets on the second Tuesday of each month at 6 p.m. at Village Hall. On July 9th, we met and discussed the upcoming Hardscrabble Music Festival, which will take place on September 14th, as well as planning details around the September 13th neighborhood night. Please stay tuned for more details regarding the lineup and day of activities once those become finalized. The next public meeting will be August 13th.
I want to just make a note. It was the events committee's idea to do Neighbors Night. And I think after our presentation from the Human Rights Commission, the motion of creating community, I just want to commend the events committee for that. Not only the idea, but also the execution. I think it's one of many ways to help create community. So thank you.
That's what I thought of when she was talking about it too. Yeah, it's important. The Village of Red Hook Human Relations Committee. The Human Relations Committee meets every first Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. in the Village Hall Conference Room. The committee met on June 6th. We spent the meeting, I doubled the meeting there, sorry. Prospective new member Linda Duval, who is a deacon at the Christ Episcopal Church, Red Hook, as well as getting her up to date on ongoing projects, of which there are no new updates. The committee did not meet for the month of July since the regularly scheduled meeting time fell on July 4th. The next public meeting will be on August 1st. And then the Village of Red Hook Highway and Public Works Department. Hydrant flushing is scheduled to start this week, July 15th through the 19th. Fire hydrant flushing is performed to remove any sediment or stagnant water from the distribution system and to test fire hydrant operation. You may experience temporary water discoloration or a pressure drop. This is normal and expected occurrence. If you notice any discoloration, your water is safe to drink, but we recommend that you run it a few minutes until the water is clear. Village and brush and yard waste pickup. It's all the same rules as always, but this time we wanted to make sure that people do not add dirt into the piles. It's not allowed and will not be picked up. Trash and recycling pickup. Please put your trash and recycling out before 5 a.m. on Monday mornings. And cardboard bundles should be bound together with stringer tape. Paper recycling should be placed loose within a lidded tub or bin. And that's so that it doesn't get filled with rain or blow away. And then potholes, you can still report them to the village by our concern form, which is redhookvillage.org/concern. or you can contact, if it's on a state highway, you can contact the state directly by calling 1-800-POTHOLE. Streetlight complaints, if you notice a streetlight out, you may notify Central Hudson directly by going to Central Hudson, CENHUD.com/EN/outages. And you can report streetlight through your form. And I've done that and it worked. And scrap metal. There was no revenue received since the last report. And while I do not have any scrap metal revenue this week, I wanted to correct an error I included in my last report. Our original fiscal year 23-24 budgeted revenue for scrap metal was $4,500, not $5,700 as reported, which meant when the fiscal year 23-24 total revenue was $6,984.70, we had exceeded our original estimate by $2,484.70. Another way to say it is the village received a total of $9,701.10 more for scrap metal donations than it did the previous year. I wanted to share how generous residents and business owners have been this past year, and also how all of the individual donations can add up to make a significant difference. Proceeds from the program go toward the purchase of tools and equipment for the Public Works Department, and residents and businesses interested in donating scrap metal may contact the village clerk's office to schedule a pickup. And I'm done.
Awesome, thank you very much. Next up, Trustee Lang.
Yes. Let's start off with materials management. So in the month of June, the village highway department collected 2.12 tons of recycling, which consisted of 0.82 tons of commingled, 0.47 tons of cardboard, and 0.83 tons of paper. Village also collected 8.13 tons of garbage, which was transported to Accra, UCRA, at a total cost of $1,011.90. And that consists of $939.95 in tipping fees and a $65.85 fuel surcharge. Unfortunately, June was a month where we were also charged $6.10 for contaminated recycling, which is unfortunate. It wasn't actually the second month in a row, but it happens every so often. We just need to keep reminding people not to put items that can't be recycled in the recycling or contaminated items that we then get charged for, and that's a shame.
We still have plenty of calendars with the information on what's recyclable and what's not, correct? You have those available. It's both on the website and also here at Village Hall.
Right. So if you're confused or have forgotten what goes in the recycling, check out the village website and follow that recycling calendar. The village also paid $246.63 in monthly fees for use of the Welsh dumpster service. Over the course of the month, the village collected $2,820 from the sale of garbage tags, which is broken down as follows: $1,920 at Village Hall, $600 from Taste Buds, and $300 from the Red Public Library. Next up is the water report. Water treatment facilities report, which is a bit of a shocker. During the month of June, the water treatment facility treated 8,610,740 total gallons, which is an average of 287,025 gallons per day. In context, that's more than usual, considerably more than usual. That had gone up quite a lot from a couple of months ago.
There are a couple of thoughts, though it doesn't cover all of it.
Right,
You have
I
that?
was wondering what the thoughts were, besides it being extremely hot and people probably watering a lot more. but
That's part of
That's
it,
not gonna cover
but
it.
that's not, it, that would, I guess last June wasn't quite as hot.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, that's right, June may have been wet last year, so not much watering, so that'd be part of it. The construction project on Cherry and Grave Street, definitely found a leak, and it initially made it worse, and then they fixed it. There's currently a smaller leak, on Cherry Street. It's not thought that that would be enough.
And
They've
is that
also,
gonna be fixed when they come back?
so what, Jake has his eye on it. If it doesn't get worse, we'd rather not fix it because it's connected with the old water main.
Oh.
And so if we can wait until the new water main is up and running, then it doesn't actually ever have to be fixed. The other is they did valve exercising, so where they're opening and closing the valves. And in several instances, they opened the hydrants nearby just to flush through at that location. As far as feels like not enough because I did an average of the last like 3 years. And on average, it's about 7.4 million gallons versus the 8.6 that we
Yeah.
just had. So that's over 1 million gallons.
I think, yeah, I mean, we'll see what it is in July with, similar temperatures.
And actually, yeah, so for billing, we're not that different, though a portion of that would be included in the next reading.
Is there anything from draining the?
No, because it doesn't get filled back up.
And that's also July.
That happened in July.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we're thinking that there may be a variety of small leaks on Cherry Street, because that main is significantly older. So part of that we'll see. But there was not a significant uptick in the billing in terms of percentage quarter to quarter, so it would make sense that it's a more leak-like than it is, people using more water.
No. I'm saying that we built 62%. And that's a consistent percentage. But the billing was up as well as so use was up.
So use was up, okay, it does make sense, I will tell you, I'm watering all the time right now, so it makes sense that use was up, and I think June is typically a slightly higher month anyway, but this is it hasn't been this high in, I think, October of 2001, I think was the last time it was this high.
Yeah, June is typically, at least, last year it was a highest use month.
And with the hydrant flushing and et cetera, I certainly hope July isn't quite this high, but I don't expect it'll come down.
And there was one day, June 11th, where it was almost up to 400,000 gallons in that day.
I'm not sure if that was the day, so there was what they discovered to be an existing leak on Cherry Street. But the contractor hit something that sort of loosened up and it went everywhere, so I'm not sure if it was that day or not. It was in that bowl. Yeah, it was around hydrant.
Okay. We also sent out bacteriological samples for the month, 3 of them, and they were all tested for coliform and E. coli and came back clean. And then for chemical usage during the month of June, the water treatment plant used 75 gallons of sodium hypochlorite. And that's an average daily use of 2.4 gallons per day. Okay. Let's move on to the Salt Hill Watershed Community and the liaison on with. So they met on June 26th via Zoom because I was not in the country. But I'll just summarize their notes from that meeting. They continued discussion of organizational needs and priorities for 2024. They discussed updates on BARD representation, Winnicke, pesticides, the Red Source Water Report, and the Red Sewer Project, and the Amphibian Project. There was also a discussion of the upcoming groundwater sampling effort, which is now come and gone. It started on July 2nd and samples were dropped off on July 13th. And I think actually there was a nice daily catch piece on that groundwater sample, which they were very pleased about.
Great.
Yes.
I didn't write it, but good
No.
for whoever did.
Good for them. Additional items on the agenda included follow-ups on resident inquiries, including the neighbour of the golf course, who's concerned about dam construction on Sawkill, and a property owner on Benner concerned with flow on the Benner Road tributary to the Sawkill. I'm wondering if it relates to increased output from the wastewater treatment plant, which we've basically demonstrated that it doesn't. As far as I know, there were no meetings of the Community Preservation Fund Committee, but I have received no information from the town or Christine Kane, the representative on that committee, so I still need to reach out to them. I would like at least to report on the status of the fund and activity.
If you go to Machine Director, it's fine. In Conway, can
Maybe.
you budget? In Conway has to have an access to it. I could handle that. It's fine.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I'll
Try Ann,
get it one way or the other.
or ask Brett how we got.
And there were no water, sewer, utility bill adjustments.
No, it's only.
Well,
Yes.
I will report on that. Okay, so utility bills issued. $213,688.98. Penalties, finance charges issued $342.72. Utility payments received $7,094.75. And accounts receivable outstanding to the village as of July 1st, $189,844.18. That's a lot.
We just released the bill.
Why did you say that? So it's all coming in. Bill adjustments,
None.
none, right.
Can I
Thank you.
ask a question, Charlie?
Yes,
I loved your chart that you used to do. Is there a reason why you're doing it in paragraph? Or just-
oh, the chart that came with the
Yeah.
water report?
No, the chart with the tipping.
The garbage.
Is that-
Oh, this spreadsheet. I don't think it was in the package.
No.
No, sorry, I thought I know how you look.
I like a good chart.
And it's a colorful chart,
Yeah.
so.
If I could get a spreadsheet,
I'm
I'm
just
really
kidding.
happier. I can do that. Because it comes to me as such amazing. I love that. I like seeing years compared.
Yeah, it's nice having all the information together.
Yeah, the problem now is there's so much data.
Since you
Okay.
come back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Trustee Appizzella.
Okay, so for the Village of Red Hook Building Department, the monthly report is as follows. There were 11 building permits issued, 1 certificate of occupancy issued, 13 certificates of compliance, 3 municipal searches, one order to remedy two stop work orders, one at 34 Prince and another at 7592 North Broadway. 4 notices of violations. Again, the 34 Prince and 7592 North Broadway locations, as well as 25 Fisk Street. There were no do not occupy notices and no court appearances. There were 7 complaints and 0 fire inspections during the month. The total fee revenue associated with this activity was a little bit higher than usual at $4,419.05. The planning board had a number of actions at their June 13th meeting. Signage was approved for 25 East Market Street, that's the Mega Brain comic store. Site plan approval was granted for South Broadway, listed under tax parcel ID 6272-14-371441. That's the property that only a small portion is in the village. Most of it's in the town where the dance studio is or was located, and it's potentially a dispensary site in the future. A site plan application and public hearing for property located on St. John Street, located at parcel ID 627206389759, was tabled to the July 11th meeting. For the Zoning Board of Appeals, at their June 27th meeting, an area variance was granted to a property located at 15 Church Street for side yard and lot coverage, and an area variance application for 12 Garden Street was tabled to July 25th, and a public hearing was set for that time. On the topic of public hearings, there was a notice that was in our folders. The village received notice as the owner of an adjacent property, which will be Memorial Park. And the notice says that the planning board will hold a public hearing on a proposed site plan application for a property located at 7592 North Broadway. The applicants are seeking to relocate their established business and renovate the interior of the commercial building. That was the old medical office, and the project name for the new site is AA Nails Plus. The date and time for that public hearing is Thursday, August 8th at 6:30 here at Village Hall. So anyone who wants to attend or make comments is welcome to do so. For the public space initiative, again, just recapping briefly, the mission is to develop and facilitate creation of public park, art, and community spaces throughout the village of Red Hook. Meetings are held the 4th Saturday of each month at 10 a.m. at the Village Hall unless otherwise noted. You can email the PSI Chair Ash Bradley Ricard for meeting locations. And due to the workload preparing for and staffing the Then and Now and Hello Bloom events in June, the normal June meeting did not take place. Just a couple of quick updates. The Seed Library, which is hosted at the Red Hook Community Center, that was relocated successfully from the basement to a nook under the stairs. It's a much more visible location, and folks who were visiting the Hello Blooms event had favorable comments about the more accessible location. As already discussed, the survey has now been completed for Abraham's Park, and the PSI is reaching out to Bard College to hold discussions for possible collaboration for a studio art program and outdoor art exhibit. The faculty who would be involved with that are not around on campus at this time, so it'll probably be towards later in the summer, I would imagine, before word is available as far as what might take place. For events, the Hello Blooms event, which was held at the Red Hook Community Center on June 15th, was a successful event. There were a wide array of activities, including giveaway of donated plants, information tables, crafts for kids, tours of the community center, pollinator garden, and seed library, and sharing information about the village's Climate Smart Community Certification Initiative. Attendance was slightly below last year's event, perhaps due to the fantastic weather, but quality of engagement was excellent. It seems then and now, which the historic Red Hook had, that was I think a week before, again, also fantastic weather, and attendance was slightly lower, so I think people are taking it, or were taking advantage of the great weather to pursue other things outside. And on October 19th, the Pumpkins in the Park event will take place, and stay tuned on further word as planning takes place for that. For the planning portion of the report, an in-person meeting was held on Friday, June 21st, with the village and representatives of RUPCO, the developer of the Gateway Project, and the village's planner, Nelson Pope and Voorhees. The purpose was to review the zoning and permitting process for the project, discussing timelines, as well as initiate conversations on sewer capacity and expansion. And after the meeting, a site visit was held for participants to walk the property. And the next step is coordination with the village land use attorney. And that's it for that.
Great, thank you, Steve. And then Trustee Bradley Ricard is not here this evening, and so I will read her reports. Village Green Committee. Current balances of the Village Green Committee's related budget accounts at the end of June are as follows: community beautification, contractual expenses, that's account 8510.4, no expenses, balance remains $440.03. That actually would not be correct because that would have been related to last fiscal year, so there's a new budget line item for that. And then Village Green Committee checking account balance, as we heard, was $8,211.61. The Village Green Committee's intern began this past month and is busy working with the committee on inputting important information that will allow the Village Green Committee to do a tree inventory. The Village Green Committee needs more members to join. There are many opportunities to volunteer, whether directly helping with the inventory project to media graphics, workshop development, and education materials. If you're interested in learning more about tree diversity and how that affects the health of the village, please reach out. Village Green meets once a quarter at this point, and so could be a great fit for someone wanting to be involved but doesn't have a large amount of time to commit. Residents and businesses interested in having a tree planted on their adjacent village street or New York State highways right-of-way. Volunteering for planting days or sponsoring a Village Green Committee beautification project. Please contact Kim Bradley Ricard or Jen Kavanaugh. Meetings are open to the public. Please reach out if you are interested in joining the next meeting. I believe their intern was in Village Hall today. Sewer Department monthly report. We continue to work with the village engineer on the planning of expansion phase 2. Additionally, we are working to make progress as easy as possible for residents to understand the process involved in being added to the use area, space permitting, and if there are any intended use changes in existing lots. As a reminder to all residents, whether you are in the sewer use area or not, be kind to your pipes. Please put only 3 P's in the toilet: pee, poop, and paper. That would be toilet paper only. And while in the kitchen or near other drains, no fats, oils, or grease. On this fog, they clog up the pipes and make the system stressed. What goes down the drain matters. If you are in the sewer use area and an emergency alarm goes off, call the village sewer operator, 845-758-1081, option 8. Press the silence alarm button only after notifying the sewer operator. We do not get that alarm automatically. Please do not open the box or tamper with village-owned equipment. The speed limit initiative. Our engineers are looking over all the data for the second and third part of the study. We have also been informed that other local municipalities are aiming to lower their speed limits, which should only aid in our efforts to do so with DOT. I believe the city of Kingston has just passed something to that effect. Town of Red Hook Greenway and Trails Committee. The Greenway and Trails Committee did not meet in the month of June. Climate smart communities. The task force is continuing to work on the assessment and figuring out where are we best positioned to work through the action items that support the village's endeavors in being more climate smart. They partnered with the PSI for their annual Hello Blooms event, which was a great success. Lots of community engagement and residents excited to see that we are undertaking this important work. We are in conversation with the town to do a joint membership with ICLEI, which I think is referred to as ICLEI, which focuses on helping municipalities in climate work as well as other areas. ICLEI, thank you, that sounds right. This task force is open and still recruiting if you are interested in becoming involved and to express ideas and knowledge of the way to best move forward and working within the team setting to build the pathway forward. We are interested in your input. And all you need to do is to reach out to Kim Bradley Ricard or to Jen Village Clerk. Okay, that is all. Those are all the reports. So you can see lots going on in the village. Oh, there was one thing I did receive a note from the Old Dutch Village Garden Club. Dear Karen, on behalf of the Old Dutch Village Garden Club, I want to thank you for all of the village help with traffic control on the day of their sale. I have to say I was never aware of the congestion on Park, as I'm always so busy. Teresa Berg also mentioned Jake was such a great help. Please extend thank you to him as well. And I just want, this was the Old Dutch Village Garden Club has a plant sale that is very popular. It happens in May, and combination of, as we are working towards our event permit, and also recognizing that it's very popular and people kind of park all over the place. Both Jake in particular, but also the police department had an eye on it to make sure that everything ran smoothly. So it was nice of them to send a note of thanks. Anybody have any general business that we haven't discussed already? Hearing none, any public comment? And then executive session. No, I'm not gonna have executive session tonight. The voucher review and approval, we did that. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Don't forget to fill out your community survey, your park survey.